are back for another episode of Get a Load of This. From the Silver Creek Studios, I'm Jarod.
Get me out of this fucking place.
You need a name for your studio.
I need out of here. I've been
stir
out.
crazy.
But, hey, this is Ryan, and I'm not at Silver Creek Studios again.
Mhm.
But, I was thinking about this. I watched a video of, it was Howard Stern and Metallica. Great. Go check it out on YouTube. It's been all over the place. But Metallica, I think they did 2 songs. They did Inner Sandman and Master Puppets on Stern. It's old. It's not recent, I don't think. But listening to Stern, who's been around forever, and if you listen to like his old stuff, like from the 80s, he kind of has this, hey guys, he's got that kind of I'm a radio morning zoo jockey,
Right.
And he's got that voice, and now he has the very broadcaster announcer voice, and it has a lot of depth, and I'm thinking, okay, well, number one, it's partly how he's talking, but number two, I got to know what kind of microphone that dude's got. So that's your research.
Okay.
Watch that video.
What kind of microphone did or does Howard Stern?
Right. Well, what he was using whenever he was interviewing, I'm sure it's the same.
Yeah.
Pretty sure he's locked in on what equipment he uses, but I'm like, I'm sitting there watching it, and I'm like, God damn, he sounds fucking great. I'm like, I got to get back in the studio because I sound like shit on this headset microphone. I know that the people out there are missing the sultry sounds of my voice.
You did have that buttery smooth baritone. It was nice.
We gotta give the people what they want.
Well, you're not going to like it. It's probably about a $400 microphone. So
I didn't say I was going to buy it.
Okay. I see. So you had asked me, had we been out and, who have we seen and not seen and whatever. And I was telling you, we hadn't really seen a whole lot of people, but, for Easter Sunday, my sister, who lives about 45 minutes away, was wanting to get the family together. Right. So my brother, my sister, my mom, her husband, the kids, whatever. And, probably about 10, maybe 12 people, like physically in the same room together. And, Kristen, my wife, she's a stickler for this kind of thing. Like, we're not breaking, the shelter in place rules. We're not doing this. She doesn't even want to go to the store for groceries or anything. We've been doing, Instacart and all that stuff, though I did go to the store today, which is one of the things I want to talk about. But anyway, so she is very much like my sister knew if there's anybody we got to convince, it's Kristen. We got to, if we got to get her on board, that we could start with her. Right. So anyway, we kind of talked about it. It was like, well, I don't know. We don't know what everybody's been doing. This was Easter a couple weeks ago or whatever, where it was the hype about how bad things are was bigger than, was greater. And so anyway, I was like, it's probably not a good idea. My mom and her husband are in their 60s and 70s,
right?
Health problems. Like, we don't want to potentially subject them to this. So like, Kristen was definitely not on board, but I'm kind of a pushover with that sort of stuff. So I probably would have done it if everybody else was on board. So anyway, we ended up doing a video chat. We got on Facebook Messenger, which is another topic we're going to talk about. But, and we did like a big 8 or 10 person group chat. And I asked the question, so who's the worst shelter in placer? And we all kind of gave our opinions. I don't know, probably you. My sister was kind of sheepishly like, it's probably me. Yeah, I've been on 2 dates and with strangers. And I've
God knows where they've been
getting equipment from work. She works at a gym. And we check it out to the clients and then they bring it back. And I mean, I'm sure they're like sanitizing it, but still, like the fact that you're even doing that, people sweating all over your equipment and shit is like, really? And what else? Like she goes to the store and doesn't wear a mask, doesn't care if there's anybody in the aisle already, all the stuff that you're not supposed to do. And she's just like, yeah, I know, I'm not going to do all that stuff. And I'm thinking, bitch, you were trying to get everybody over at my house when you didn't tell anybody then when you were trying to do this, that you're doing all this stupid shit.
Right.
And you were going to get everybody together and then break it on them that you went on dates and did this and you go to the store and do that. And I'm like, this is exactly why we have to fucking shelter in place. Because people like you, and I know not everybody's on board with the same degree of sheltering, but like, I don't know. It really irritated me, and I know it irritated Kristen because she almost like duped us into all getting together without telling us first that, which is exactly why we didn't. Because I was like, I don't know. We don't really know.
So here, let me give you an abstract take on that. I don't disagree with you or Kristen. I feel like if it was my sister, or if someone was like, hey, let's hang out, and you make the assumption that like everybody's doing the same thing you're doing, everybody's being equally cautious, you make that leap of faith, and then you realize, that would piss me off. And but let's put it this way. In her mind, she's right.
Right. Yeah.
And she's entitled to her opinion. And you guys are sitting there like, oh my God, you're such a heartless person. And how dare you do this? And she's like, what? I mean, she genuinely thinks like, I'm not worried about it.
And I don't think you should be either. Like, she needs to know that most other people were worried about it or are worried about it, and at least disclose that. Like, hey, I want to get together, but you need to know this. Like, don't leave that out when you're suggesting that we all get together. Yeah. To me, I don't think she was intentionally being shady or secretive. It just happened that way.
It's not a big deal.
It isn't a big enough deal to her.
In her mind, it's like, I'm okay. And it's probably because, hey, she's pretty healthy, right? I mean, she eats right. She exercises. She's got good cardio, right? I mean, there's not a lot that's probably going to take her down, right? I mean, even if she were to get sick, she'd probably, she gets sick, but she'd muddle through it, right?
Right.
So for her, it's not a big deal. But so it's different. But
that's the thing and that's where you have to be empathetic. You have to say, well, it probably won't be a big deal to me. I'll be fine if I get it. But if I hang out with my 75-year-old stepdad who had a heart bypass surgery, it's like
your 75-year-old stepdad should be wearing a mask.
All right.
And should be taking every precaution because he is compromised. And if even after those measures, he's still not comfortable, don't come.
Well, right. Yeah.
That's my
but
take
that's where you got to be open. You got to say, hey, this is what I've been up to. If you don't feel comfortable, then don't come around, Don't
even if you're not open because you don't know. Like, here.
Right. That's true too. You have to assume.
I don't know. You go to the store, right? I mean, you don't know where these people have been. I mean, who knows? I mean, you can either decide to go to the store and take all the precautions you need to take, or just not go. And it's the same thing with a social gathering. And if everybody, you take it into account that everybody there has been in contact with somebody that fucking has it.
Yeah.
And so if you feel that way and you feel like the only way you're going to be safe is wear a mask and wash your hands and, Germ-X up and all that shit, and do it. Here's the other thing. So let's take this for example. So let's say we did have this event for your family, your gathering, and everybody shows up and your sister's there and she's been in contact with people that have coronavirus. She's not, maybe she's she's asymptomatic carrier, right? But if your father-in-law, or stepfather rather, if he shows up and he's wearing a mask and he's wearing, that's it. And he's, long sleeves, whatever. It doesn't matter. He's wearing a mask. Forget it. He's wearing a mask and that's it. And he doesn't eat any food there at risk of it being contaminated. And he washes his hands vigorously. And when he leaves, he sanitizes, washes his hands. He throws the fucking mask away. He goes home. He strips off his fucking clothes, puts on his pajamas and goes to bed. What are the real chances of him getting sick? I'd say they're almost fucking zero.
I don't know, honestly. I mean, I want to agree with you, but it's like, how many nursing home scares and, New York City rates?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I mean, there's been a lot of that. There's been a lot of elderly people but how many variables are, they may be Alzheimer's patients. They don't know their stuff. Like my father-in-law sticks his finger in every hole in his fucking regularly. Like, who knows what's going on there?
And I looked it up the other day. I literally typed into Google, I forget exactly what it was. It was like, why are nursing homes more prone to coronavirus or something like that? I was just like, what the fuck is up? Well, yeah. But I'm like, seriously, how the fuck is it this bad? Like, okay, I could see early on you didn't know what was going on. Now, like, I just saw yesterday that there was a big outbreak. 100 some people at one nursing home came down with it. I'm like, what the fuck? Where have these nurses and administrators been for the last month that they didn't know this was a problem? They needed to, and I'm like, but they said nursing homes are kind of notorious for not having the same cleanliness measures and disinfectant that hospitals do, you think of it's like, well, they're nurses, they're taking care of sick people. It's like, no, they're pretty much just an apartment for them to stay in, and people that come in and feed them and whatever. And like,
yeah, the precautions aren't taken there that
Yeah.
are taken at the hospital. I mean, I think that they do sanitize, they do
I'm
use
sure
a
they
lot
do,
of hand sanitizer and stuff like that, but it's not the sterile state that most hospitals are in.
yeah,
I mean,
apparently
when we
just
visit,
spreads like wildfire or whatever.
yeah. Well, and that, I mean, it just takes one. And like I
Mhm.
said, they're not cautious. A lot of them, their mental acuity is
Mhm.
diminished, and so they don't have the forethought to like, oh, I need to wash my hands,
Mhm.
and they do. They pick their fucking nose or whatever, they don't wash their hands before they eat, and before you
Mhm.
know it, yeah, it spreads like wildfire, and
Hanging out in the
but also
hallway,
the fact that
touching this and touching that.
they're
Yeah.
all old and
Yeah.
immune compromised. I mean,
Right.
that's the primary factor, obviously, right? Is that old people are susceptible. So
Yeah. Well, anyway, for the most part, we haven't been hanging out with anybody. Definitely haven't been having anybody over. I think I told you, I sold my motorcycle, and so that person did come over and test drove it and bought it and everything, but didn't let him in the house. Had set up a little table outside where we could sit down and sign the paperwork. I used what do you call it? Not a wet wipe. Maybe it is a wet wipe.
Clorox wipes or whatever.
Yeah, disinfectant wipe on all the stuff on the bike that you touch. So I did that for him to know that anything I touched has been disinfected. I tried to do it with anything that he would be touching. I didn't shake his hand, all that stuff, right? So, I mean, I had to interact with this person, but I tried to do it as responsibly as I could for him and for me. Like, I don't want to get anything from him and then have to fucking quarantine for 2 weeks.
I think that, I mean, I would do the same thing. I really would. But like when you talk about it like that and you hear like, well, I did this and I did this, and I'm like, he's not going to catch it from that.
I mean, if I
would do the same thing. I'm not saying you're doing
but if I wipe my nose and then I grab the throttle on my motorcycle handlebars,
yeah,
he's grabbing it too. It's like
I've been to Walmart far too many times. Then nothing holds me back. I'll go to Walmart or Schnucks or whatever. I went over to St. Louis, went to Deerberg's on Friday. Actually saw my parents, and because fucking bored. I was like, I gotta go. I gotta do something. So I went over there, and it's the second time I've been over there. I took them toilet paper a couple weeks ago because they were in bad shape, and so I know that they haven't gone anywhere. They're being safe. So I went over there and visited with them, and took care of some things around the house, whatever. And anyway, so I've been around. I went to Walmart with the wife. This was last weekend, I think. And the guy that checked us out, the checker, nice young man. I mean, but right after the customer before us was done, he handed them the receipt and they were walking away. He pulls out a tissue out of his vest pocket of his Walmart vest, blows his nose into this tissue, shoves it back into his vest pocket, and then proceeds to check all of my groceries out.
God damn.
And the whole time I'm like, motherfucker, I'm going to wipe I have to wipe everything out.
Right.
Every fucking thing you're touching. I didn't. We're all here. I don't think I have corona.
Right.
I don't think my wife saw it, because if she had seen it, she'd have had a fucking shit fit.
Yeah.
I mean, she'd have lost her mind. But yeah, I mean, I really do think that there's some truth to that. We've all had it.
Yeah, right.
We've had some form of it, and so we've all built up some type of immunity. I don't know. And we can't get a straight story from the media. We can't get a straight story from anybody. And the scientists, I'm sure they're out there screaming, like trying to get people to listen to it, but nobody fucking listens to them because they're all drowned out by people who are trying to take advantage of something. It's fucking stupid.
Yeah, I mean, it's like anything else, except it feels more immediate and it affects everybody individually. But yeah, you can't trust the information that you're being told from either side. I'll say two sides, any side. Even if you can trust it, you can't really get a good informed explanation because they don't really even know everything yet. And it's just like, and there's people taking advantage of it for political reasons or financial reasons or whatever, business. And Yeah, you don't know what to believe or think right now. You have to just go by what makes sense. What are you seeing? Um, I don't know. But and then even if you can trust it, you just get different opinions. Like, okay, yeah, this is bad, but don't tell me what I can or can't do. Or,
Right.
yeah, this is bad. Tell me exactly what I need to be doing. That kind of thing. Like, there's totally different viewpoints on how we should be handling this. And neither one's right or wrong. Like, in this situation, like, sure, take away all my, inalienable rights for everyone else. Like, wait, what? Huh? Suddenly we're living in a
Right.
government.
We're in communist
state?
country.
Right.
Yeah. Well, Corey, who we talk regularly about this, he brought up what Chappelle said in his special. I think it was in his special. But he was Dave Chappelle, who's not a conservative, but a gun owner, as we've established in his he established in his stand up, that the First Amendment is what these people in Michigan and all over, that's what they're practicing, and a lot of them are carrying guns with them. And the beauty, and he said, the beauty of the Second Amendment is that it's there just in case the First Amendment doesn't fucking work. If people try to fuck with the First Amendment, that's why the Second Amendment's there. Something along those lines.
Yeah,
I'm stepping all over his line, but it's right. He's absolutely right. And the fact that people can't see that is terrifying. The people just are blind to this to what's going on. I've heard too many pundits or whatever say that, like, wait until August, and then let's do an inventory check of our liberties, and let's make sure, because I'll bet you, and it's a pretty safe bet, that come August or September, when you think everything, okay, we're getting really close back to normal, nope, you've lost some of your liberties. You've lost some of your rights.
Right.
And if we lay down and let it happen, then yeah. And so no one's saying that we should all kick down the doors of all the establishments and force everybody to go back into business, but you should give people the option if they want to. If they want to go into business again, let's go. Let's do this.
Well, I want to get into
necessary
that term, the new normal. But before we do, you touched on kind of buying guns and whether or not. Anyway, I think we've talked on the podcast that I'm in the market to buy a handgun.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to work out for you. You in the market for a divorce lawyer too?
Right. So everybody I've talked to, I was like, let me know what you suggest and if you have a number for a good divorce attorney. But and she's obviously going to listen to this. She might even come down and hear us talking about it. But she's definitely not on board. If I get one, it's absolutely going to be without her approval. She knows enough that I've been looking and getting serious about it. So if I just go get one, she can't be totally shocked, but I'm also not going to consult her about it either. Anyway, that being said, I've been shopping online and going to our local Rural King, which is actually a really good place to get a gun.
Okay.
Well, I mean, not really good. Their selection is limited, but they have good prices and they, Anyway, their selection has been drastically cut. Everybody's been going out. Their website is like decimated. There's very few guns available right now. There's no ammo. Well, I say no, 9mm, but I've looked at 40 and 38. Totally out of stock online, and I'm pretty sure in the store the guy was saying, "Yeah, we don't have any. We're totally out of ammo." So, everyone's been stocking up. Everybody's been, which I kind of get it. I'm in the same boat of wanting to do this, but it's crazy right now. I read some. I don't have the stats in front of me, but I read something about how the number of FOID card registrations in Illinois, which is a firearm owner's ID, you have to have that in Illinois to buy a gun. It's through the roof. Their website, which a couple of years ago they changed it to where you can only get it online. You used to be able to go to a local store, and fill out a form and they'd mail it in. Can't do that anymore.
Okay. Really?
Their website is like, can't keep up. It's inundated. Yeah, everybody's going out and stocking up.
You don't have a FOID card
I do have a FOID card as of probably 9 months ago and 6 or 9 months ago. So I do have a FOID card. I'm ready to get a handgun. But yeah, the one I want isn't in stock, so I got to wait for it to become available. I saw it online yesterday, and within a few minutes of me trying to decide, do I want to get it in the store or buy it online? I don't know. It was suddenly not available anymore. So they're selling fast.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, it's crazy. And, I don't know what that tells us. Everybody's preparing for things to get worse, I guess. Always be prepared.
I think that there are the normal people, not normal people. Let me back that up. There are the people you would expect to be buying more firearms and ammunition. Yeah. So there's those people, the people that you anticipate that's going to happen. But this event has created a significant influx of those people. People that were anti-gun and never thought of it, or they're like, oh, I can't do it because my wife says no, are now like, fuck it, I'm doing it. I don't give a shit what she says. I know a guy like that. And, and that's a reality. I think there's a lot of people that are dealing with that right now. They're like, I got to do this because I don't know. Yeah, it could get shitty. And so if it costs me $300 or $400 to make sure that if it does go really sideways, that at least I can protect my family, then I'm doing it, and I can keep that secret from my wife, and I'll put it on a high shelf. So I think that number has gone up dramatically, which is why we see the shortage. But the beauty of capitalism is that people will make more guns, and they will make plenty of ammo. It's just a matter of time and the supply chain picking up.
It's like toilet paper.
Still can't find that shit. But
I know. So we actually ordered some for my dad about a month ago. When this first, when everybody first started talking about, toilet paper's in demand, go get it while you can. We found some online like a day or two later, and they had said, we had talked to my dad. He lives down in Florida. We had talked to them about how they couldn't get any or whatever. So we found some online, and we went ahead and ordered it for him and had it shipped. And at the time it said it was available and it would ship. Well, just like 2 days ago, it finally showed up, and we kept getting this notification that it was delayed. So we were like, whatever. By now they've bought some, and it turned out they hadn't. They were down to their last roll. They sent us a picture, and it was like half used, not used, half.
Yeah, right.
And it was their last roll. And I just was like, it's been a month. What the hell? And they're like, every time we go, we can't find any. And they don't get online and shop for stuff like that. Right. So they weren't going to find it online. But it was kind of crazy. I just assumed they had found some in the meantime, and they hadn't. So they were very happy.
My parents were down to a roll too. And my mother called me frantically on a Saturday a few weeks ago. And she's like, this is pissing. I can't believe I can't fucking find toilet paper. This is so stupid. And she was just beside herself, pissed off. I don't blame her. And I was like, well, funny enough that you should just call. I just got back from Walmart, and they happened to have Charmin, and not even like the crappy stuff. It was Charmin. I mean, it was like legit, 9-pack, 9 rolls in a package. And I don't even know what I paid for it. I just picked it up, threw in the cart. Don't fucking care. And I was like, and I have plenty of Cottonelle because I have my source on the Cottonelle side.
Oh, wow.
And so I was like, I can bring this over to y'all, and I'll just, you're good, So I gave that, and there's only 2 of them there. They're good. And I think my dad only poops like once every 3 days. He gets excited when it happens. And
right.
So they're in good shape. But yeah, it's a real concern. My neighbor across the street, he was out. They sit out on the front porch, and they'll have a couple drinks in the evening. And so we'll stand, socially distancing and stand out there and bullshit with them. And he goes, I got to show you something. And he goes, go get it. And he tells his wife, he goes, go. She goes inside. She goes outside with this roll of toilet paper that looks like it's from a fucking Barbie dream house. I mean, it's like this little bitty, I don't know. I mean, it's about the size of a beer can. and it's not even as tall. Like if you were to stand it up like it's not even as tall. It's like,
is it for like RVs or something, or what the hell?
Might be. I don't know. But it wasn't in a wrapper. It was just a roll of toilet paper. And they ordered it on Amazon. Like, I don't know when, but when things started to get fucked up and they couldn't find it online, they ordered, I want to say it was like 30 rolls of this shit. And I think he paid like $1 a roll. And he's like, well, it's worth it, because I can't find it anywhere else. So I'm paying it. And so he gets this stuff and he's like, what the fuck is this? What am I what am I supposed to do with this stuff? Yeah.
Well, I went to the store. I went to Schnucks today, the grocery store, but they have a whole aisle of toilet paper and paper towels, which was all gone, except they had a decent amount of individually wrapped single ply. It might as well have said, don't bother using this kind of toilet paper. Like, it was just the shittiest, thinnest, crappiest industrial toilet paper, but it was there. You could buy it if you needed to, and they were selling it. I think you could get 4 rolls maybe or something like that. But
yeah, four for $1 or something like that.
Yeah. But
I think I bought some of those too. We got those laying around here, but the ones we bought were Cottonelle. They weren't the shitty stuff, but they were individually wrapped.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The worst case scenario, man. Again, socks that can't find a mate for. You hop in the shower. There's a lot of ways to solve this problem. Yeah. It's none of it's savory. None of it you want to do. But
wait, you lost me there for a second. I just realized. Wait, what? Socks? Shower? Oh, fuck.
Yeah. Well, all those socks. Every house has got them. All those socks that you don't have a match for. Yeah. What else are you gonna do with them?
Right.
Softest wipe of your life. And then you just throw it away, or you just squeeze and run to the fucking shower and hope for the best. And there's a lot of ways to solve these issues. But,
okay, I wanted to ask you about a term, and I've heard that it's becoming a controversial thing, but not controversial in that sense, but the term new normal, and whether or not that is something we should be striving for or trying to avoid a new normal. First of all, I guess I'll get your opinion on what do you think new normal is or will be, and should we try to have a new normal, or should we try to get back to what was normal?
So yeah, but then it's inevitable that no matter what. But so take the coronavirus out of the equation.
Yeah,
things happen in life that in our society. Whether it's a global society or whether it's just little microcosms or a little small town or whatever, but things happen that create a new normal, right? I mean, before Howie Mandel and what's that show that he did, A Minute to Win It or whatever, not many people did the fist bump, handshake. People did it, but not as many people did it.
Okay.
And I don't know if that was one thing that pushed it, plus Michelle and Barack doing their fist bump on stage during the campaign. Big deal, right? But that became a new thing where a lot of people now are like, fist bumping. And then Howard Stern talks about it. He's like, well, I do it, and Howard and Howie Mandel does it because they're germaphobes. Long before COVID-19, they were germaphobes, and that's why they do it. And so people that plants that seed in your head, like, oh yeah, it's fucking gross. People, who knows where their fucking hands have been, right? And so that created that new normal.
Sure.
So those things happen in perpetuity. They happen nonstop, 24, 365.
And not just like physical contact or germs. I mean, social media changes the way we interact. Texting, nobody calls their family members on the weekends anymore. They text them. I mean, some people.
Yeah, nobody writes letters anymore.
Right,
nobody.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things that we don't do that we used to do. They just happen. They tend to happen gradually, and you just like, oh, what the fuck? We used to do that. That was cool, and we don't do it anymore.
Normal changes for sure. But I think what we're talking about here would be a pretty
dramatic shift. Yeah. So there will be a new normal. Inevitably, there will be a new normal. People will not shake hands as much. I hope that people go back to shaking hands, but people will not shake hands as much. There will be more germaphobes. There's going to be more.
Sorry, did you say you hope people will or will not shake hands?
I hope they will. I think
I could do without that. Let's get into a different way of greeting.
Yeah, I
I appreciate a firm handshake.
There was something on. Maybe it was on. I don't know if it was on Hannity or something where maybe it wasn't Hannity. I don't know what it was, but they showed like a Egyptian not sculpture, but an Egyptian like carving from like 40 BC of two people meeting, shaking hands, and right hand and stepping with one foot towards each other and shaking hands. So we've done this for at least 2,000 years. We've been shaking hands to greet people, and I think it's a formality. It's so can you take precautions? Absolutely. Can you carry around your little Germ-X with you? Absolutely. But I'm not. I hope to someday get back to shaking people's hands. And I am a bit of a germaphobe. I don't like fucking touching people. I don't like people touching me. But I do not enjoy, but I appreciate a formal, proper greeting.
Yeah.
So I hope we get back to those. That's just one element of
Sure.
it. I mean, look, I'm you're looking at me on the camera. I keep looking up.
You're looking at the ceiling, it looks like.
Well, the TV's right in front of me.
Oh,
and
yeah.
it's the 2006 World Series.
Oh, yeah.
And I think Pujols just struck out on a check swing. Oh, nope, he's still alive. 1-2. Bottom of the 8th. Game 3.
Hold on. I'm going to turn it on.
But he's going to have to cut this out. I don't think you can hear me. You got to have...
Okay, I'm back.
You got to have the remote right there next to you.
Well, I had it over by the couch.
Anyway, so I'm watching this baseball game, and it's Busch Stadium. First year that Busch Stadium 3 existed.
Yeah,
and I'm looking at how fucking close all these people are.
Right.
And it's like, wow, that I don't know. I don't know that we'll go back to that. I mean, not say that I don't know that I'll go back to that. I don't know that I will go to baseball games and hockey games unless I know that I'm in a suite or that I'm some really nice seats where I'm not that fucking close to people. I don't know that I can do it. I don't know that I want to do it. I would rather watch a game on my sofa than go put myself, elbow to asshole with somebody I don't know. But that's why
I think so. That's why I said ooh. Yeah, Pudge just took one off the junk. Foul tip. Oh. So yeah, I think I guess to me it's like, what are the subtle, not even subtle, but normal daily things? You go to a restaurant, are they going to allow tables that are back to back to be seated anymore? Are they going to seat every other table kind of thing, or less than that?
I tell you what, so we'll go Casa Romero. You don't go there very often, do you? The Mexican joint in
but
town?
I mean, I know what you're talking about.
So I love Casa Romero. I love their food. Like the wait staff, I like everything about it. It's a small, there's only one Casa Romero. It's not like there's a fucking 100 of them across the city. And the guy does a great job, and they care, and they know me because we, in normal times we go there about once a week, like every Friday, just about. We go there and we have dinner. It's our joint, And they expanded probably a year ago, maybe a little over a year ago, and they put in these certain section of seats where basically it's almost like communal seating. You're sitting right next to the table, and like there's like a booth, bench along the wall, and then a bunch of chairs lined up, or tables lined up, and then chairs opposite the table. Anyway, you end up sitting very close to people you don't know.
Yeah,
and I hated it before this shit. Right? I don't like. And also, I would
also hate that. Yep.
I feel like he tried to fit too many fucking tables into this restaurant, and it's like, yeah. I feel if there's a regulation that comes out of this for restaurants to say you have to have X amount of feet, 6 feet between each table, I am on board with that 150%, man. I'm all about that shit. And the same, when it comes to bars, it's a little different because you're not eating, and who knows, but and the idea of a bar is community and being communal. So it's a little different. But when it comes to restaurants and sitting down with your family, your wife or your girlfriend or whatever, and sitting down to eat dinner, I don't want to sit next to some other asshole.
What pisses me off is when you go at a weird hour, maybe later after a sports game or something. It's not crowded, but they clearly have sections. They have the wait staff has assigned a certain section, right? And so you can tell they've only got the one waiter working right now, and so they put everyone in his section. And so there's 30 tables in here, and you've got the only 5 families or whatever that are in here eating, all sitting right next to each other. Like, fuck that. Put me way over there away from everyone. Like, I can't believe they don't do that anyway. But
I'm with you there. I mean, but I think that there'll be more people that request that. And then we'll say, like, no, I'm not going, because I don't want to sit that close to the next person,
Right. Now, I'm not saying that I want that to be a requirement, a government mandate, but let's just say I wouldn't mind if they did, where they said, okay, restaurants can reopen, but only with half capacity or something like that. Spread everyone out to the furthest extent you can.
Well, I don't think it should
I
ever
would be
be
on board with that.
a government mandate, but I think there should be recommendations. I mean, like I don't know if it was in Illinois, but definitely in St. Louis, in the city of St. Louis. Little known fact: my grandfather was a health inspector in the city of St. Louis. Now he primarily condemned houses and things like that for places that weren't worthy of inhabiting, where they didn't have toilet, running water, and stuff like that. And that was in like the 40s and 50s and 60s. But anyway, health inspectors in St. Louis, and I've worked in restaurants in St. Louis. They're very good and they're feared because they're very strict, or at least they used to be. So if you work at a restaurant and the health inspectors showed up, and they never fucking announced they're going to show up, your butthole puckered. You made sure that your
right.
your shit was right. All your food was stored properly, everything was covered, and everything was, it was. You made sure your shit was right. So I feel like I don't think that happens in Illinois. I don't think there's a health inspector that goes around and says,
there has to be, right?
Oh, no. But in St. Louis, they would put a letter on the door. And if you got an A rating, you got a fucking A on the door. If you got, and they very rarely would you see anything other than an A.
Right.
But I've seen them. I've seen B's. I've never seen anything other than a B, I don't think. But I'm like, why would you put the B on your door? You don't got an A. Don't put that fucking thing on your door,
Yeah.
But I don't see A's and A's anywhere on restaurants or establishments anywhere. I don't know if that's in other cities, but I feel like it should be.
Yeah.
And I feel like it should be a health inspector's recommendation, or whether it's a CDC recommendation, like for restaurants, this is what we recommend. That's
a new business model. We need to hit pause right here so nobody steals it from us. But let's start a new, inspection regulation business where you just say, hey, we're going to do the work for you. Is this restaurant up to standards? Does this meet your requirements for a social distancing restaurant? That's a good idea, right? We'll put a little site together.
Yeah, I've had a couple of them too. I can't remember the other ones. I'll have to ask Corey, because I just told him the other day. I'm like, dude, I got $1 million idea. I forgot what the fuck it was. See, I always forget. I always forget the good ones. But it's something related to this. I mean, I feel like there's a lot of businesses that can come out of this event. A lot of industries that will be born out of it. Whether it's something like that, consulting for restaurants or for establishments to try to. But also, I know what it was. It was someone can steal this, and it may exist already. But basically, it's Geek Squad for corporations or small businesses that want their people to work from home, but they don't want to send somebody that, like my mother, for example. She was sent home, around the same time, middle of March, with a Microsoft Surface, not even a docking station, like a dongle. And she said, I have a monitor. And they're like, this will work as a monitor and that'll work as a monitor. You just need to hook it up. Here, this is how you do it. And so she gets home and she's pretty savvy. She thought she could handle it. Ends up she couldn't.
Right.
So she was like, fuck, I don't know what I'm doing. Get over here. So I drive 40 minutes to go over there and hook up her stuff, which I don't mind. I don't mind helping her out. Yeah. But that whole time I'm thinking, like, this is a business. And there will be more people that work from home as a result of this, because they're just not comfortable going into the office, or companies realize that there's a huge cost benefit to letting people work remotely, as long as you can manage it and as long as you can maintain productivity. That there will be an industry for people to build you a home office. Yeah. So it could be anything from, I'm going to set up your docking station and your dual monitors, and I'm going to mount them on a pole, or I'm going to mount them on the wall or something like that, to I'm going to design and build you a home office that's conducive to your work environment and that meets the specifications of your employer. Because I foresee, and it exists at some companies already, but I foresee a lot of companies saying, like, you know what, you're working from home? Yep, we've seen that you can do it. It's definitely technologically possible, but we need to put some guardrails around this stuff, right? So we need to make sure that you're doing things right. We don't want you sitting on your couch eating fucking Funyuns, watching Netflix and trying to answer phone calls. We want to make sure you have a dedicated space and you have 2 monitors and you have a comfortable working environment with no distractions. You have phone service, you have et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I will be that company that comes in and follows the specifications of that corporation, and builds home offices.
Let's do it.
Yeah. It's a great business model. So if someone will steal it from us.
Yeah, I know. So, okay, is that part of the new norm? I think it will be people working from home a lot more than they used to. I think there were companies who never even entertained the idea, or maybe they did. Like my company, I think I've said this before. They let some of our people work from home, but they don't like it. It has to be extenuating circumstances generally. And now, on a short term, like 1 or 2 days, yeah, if your kid is sick or whatever, you need to take your mom to the hospital or something, yep, you can work from home that day. But they don't want it to be long term because I think they're afraid of losing productivity, people abusing it, people can't handle it. I think this might change their mind. They might go, you know what? We got pretty much the same amount of work done and everyone was working from home. We could actually save on retail space if we didn't.
Think of the money. Yeah. Think of the money they would save from a real estate perspective, from just keeping the lights on a big building, paying security, buying cubicles, buying, phone systems and all this stuff. You can do everything over VoIP. You issue laptops and docking stations. Right. Maybe you can issue monitors to people and say, take this shit home. Find a place, set it up, make yourself productive at home. Yeah. And I don't, like I said we weren't recording yet, but I don't want that. I enjoy going to the office. I don't want to go every day. I like my work from home days too, but I don't want to be work from home permanently. This is fucking terrible. This is not what I'm looking for. So
I think I don't really know how most people have it. I'm in a pretty good setup, I guess. I'm in the basement in our podcast studio, but I've got my computer separate from my work computer, but it's right there. So I can just get on it and do non-work related things if I need to, and I can do work related things if I need to. It's very private. Nobody else comes down here. I mean, if they do, it's uncommon, right? I'm in a situation where we only have one kid left in the house. She's a 17-year-old, so we don't have rowdy, loud kids running around. Our daughter doesn't want anything to do with us anyway, so there's a nice distance there. She's 2 floors up. My wife is busy with her own projects and things that keep her occupied, so there's not a lot of distraction. So I mean, I'm not hating it. I'm definitely like, you get bored, and I've commented, you forget what day it is, you forget what time it is. I sit at the same desk for social and non-work related things as I do work related things, so you sort of forget, like, what am I, oh yeah, shit, it's 5:00 already, but right. So that's a weird, but I mean, you make that adjustment. You've dealt with all of this years. I've never worked from home before, so but I'm kind of digging it now. Maybe after a year, or I would hate it, I don't know. But like I said, I don't have all those distractions. A lot of people I work with are like, oh my God, I'm pulling my hair out, my kids are going to drive me nuts. And I'm like, yeah, I don't have to deal with that at all.
But I forget all that because I don't have the distractions either. I mean, I got, I got 3 assholes here and my wife.
Right.
But they pretty much take care of themselves. I don't really deal with them at all. TJ's in school all day. He's doing remote classes for Tulane, and the other 2, they're doing whatever menial work that the public education system in this place has prescribed, which is lackluster at best. So they're busy. If they're not doing their homework, which takes them about a day to knock out everything for the week, which is fucking ridiculous. But if they're not doing that, then they find a video game, or they go outside and they play basketball, or but they leave me alone. And then the wife, she's on her. We got her set up in the dining room she's got 2 monitors, she's got a docking station, and her computer. She's locked in. She's ready to go. The only problem down there is there's no door. So she does, if the kids are down there making lunch or whatever, she does have some distractions. Yeah. But they come and they go pretty quickly. They don't really bother her too much because they know she's working. But yeah, I mean, I think it's fine. It's fine for temporary. And even though I don't, I've got it pretty good, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this in forever. I want to have.
You told me, you said you like to go to the office. You like to interact with people sometimes. Yeah. I'm definitely one of those, like, I generally don't like to interact with people. Even when I'm at the office, a lot of times I don't ever get up from my desk if I don't need to. I could definitely deal without seeing people all day long. It's fine with me. Well, but I get it. I mean, definitely, like, there are people.
You enjoy
people
the interpersonal contact. You enjoy talking to your colleague. You don't. I don't think you work with most of those guys anymore because you're in a different facility now. But a lot of those guys, like Rick and we enjoy those conversations.
Yeah, sure, for sure. And we definitely had some good conversations when I worked with some of those guys, and I do still with the people that I work with now. But I mean, again, if that didn't happen all day long, I'd be fine with it. I'm like, whatever. I don't dread those conversations, but if I didn't, I've always been that way, like a recluse almost. But so I started a podcast. But yeah, I don't know. I do think there is going to be a new normal. It's hard to say how drastic it's going to be. I don't think that we're going to start only letting 30 people into the grocery store at a time and only having this and blah, 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 blah. But I do think that sanitizing grocery carts much more often than they used to is going to become the new normal. Maybe only letting so many people in at a time might become the new normal. I think once we get over this hurdle, I think we'll kind of probably get away from that. But I do think working from home is going to be at least more common. Not everyone's going to do it, but it won't be so strange. It used to be like, what? You work from home? Cool. And now it's going to be like,
that was only for you, dude. That was only for you.
I guess. I don't know.
A lot of people.
A lot of people work from home. I guess. Yeah, I mean, I don't know that many.
I mean, here, in a matter of 3 houses on my street, all 3 of us have one person that works from home regularly. Mike works from home almost exclusively.
Yeah.
I do it about 2 to 3 times a week, in non-corona times. And then Joe's wife, she's every day, 7 days, or it's 5 days a week,
right?
365 days a year. She's
I guess I'm just not aware that that's more normal. Everyone I'm around works in an environment that needed to be at the government facility. So
the government world, I would imagine that's the case. Yeah, that you're gonna. Yeah, that makes sense. But one's a nurse. Mike works for I don't know what the hell he does. Anyway, it's like I think it's like something with Lowe's, something like a parts supplier or something like that. So, but he manages people. I don't fucking know what and then I work for financial services.
Yeah.
But there's a lady down the street too that she also works from home. I don't know what the hell she does either, but she's home every fucking day. So yeah, there's a lot, and I think especially when you get into towns like ours, where we're a little bit further away from the big city, that you find it more.
Yeah.
That people are like, well, fuck, if I don't have to go to work every day, I'm gonna move out here where there's a little bit of elbow room.
Yeah.
But I think not the majority. There's a lot of people, a lot more than what people think there is.
Yeah.
And it's only up. So yeah, the new normal, besides working from home, I think, going to the store and all these interpersonal contacts, I fucking hope that people stay the hell away from me. I mean, I've been saying that for forever. Like, why get the fuck away from me? Right. You don't need to be this close to me. And I'm telling you, people get stressed out. You've seen the stories of like people getting in fights and shit like that because people aren't social distancing or someone wasn't wearing a mask. And the people are confronting other people. I don't agree with that, but like there was a lady at Walmart a few weeks ago, and I wasn't wearing a mask, nor was she, and she was fucking clueless. And we're all at that point we were supposed to be distancing, and she just kept fucking getting in my way, and she would stop in the middle, block the whole fucking aisle. So now I got her in front of me, and I can't get around her. And I got people backing up behind me. They can't get around. So now I got people way too fucking close to me on all fucking sides. And I get claustrophobic like in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you got to move. What are you doing? Get the fuck out of there. I mean, I lit into her.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh. And she moved. I'm like, get the fuck out of here. Like at that point, here's my trick is I take a breather. I go to an aisle of the store and I just fucking kick back. I look at my phone, wait for the fucking idiots to get out of the way. And there's going to be a new idiots to come along in a second, but you just wait for those fucking people to get out of your way. The other problem with Walmart, where my son
is
a
lot of problems, but
a lot of problems with Walmart. But the problem with Walmart is that they're hiring everybody, my boy included, and a bunch of kids. There's a kid who we both know. I'll tell you his name off the air, but first name Garen, used to play baseball with our kids.
Okay. Yep.
So I saw him, and then there's a fuck ton of kids there. Kids seeing 16, 17-year-old kids.
Yeah.
And there's too many of them, and they're all stocking shelves, which needs to happen. I get it, but there's like 8 Walmart employees in an aisle, and then there's a pallet of shit that they're putting on the shelf. It's like, do this shit at fucking 10 o'clock at night. Don't do this shit on Sunday at 4. Get the fuck out of the way. I don't want to be near the other customers, nor do I want to be around your dumb ass. I don't need to be around.
Right.
Just get your. I don't know, man. It's ridiculous. But I, not as to this extreme, but I was that way before.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I guess. So just to touch a little bit on the controversy, there's some people. I think even the other day in a press conference, a reporter had asked Trump about, will this be the new normal? And he was very adamant about it not using the term new normal. No. We're going to get back to normal, not a new normal, normal. And to the point of like the reporter kept hitting it like, well, right, but is this the new way of doing things? And he kept, whatever. It was this back and forth. And do you think it should be contentious? Should we try to get back to the way things were? I mean, that would mean there's no infection and no risk of virus, but I mean, I think I know what you're going to say. We both wish that we had kind of done some of this stuff before anyway, distancing and germaphobe stuff, but I don't know. I haven't heard, well, I was going to say, I haven't heard of anybody who doesn't want to go back to the way it was, but there's plenty of people out there protesting that we haven't reopened everything yet.
So I think there's some differentiation there, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you want to go to a baseball game again, right? Someday.
I would love to, yeah.
Me too. Again, I don't know how comfortable I would be in that situation, but I do. So there's people out there, and that's the problem is like on Twitter and all these places that people are like, all these people are protesting in Michigan because they can't get a haircut. Like, no, that's not it. Maybe someone got a fucking soundbite of someone saying like, barbershops need to open, and they cut that, print it, send it out there. But it's like, no, that's not it. The majority, I think, of people that are protesting are people that are business owners, or that that just care about the economy, or have friends and family that are currently out of work because we've shut down everything,
right?
And people are suffering, and people, yes, there's a lot of things that are happening. The government's providing a lot of benefit to people, but not everybody's covered. There's a lot of people that aren't getting that benefit. So I think the vast majority, and I'm 90+% of people that are out there protesting, whether it's in Michigan or Missouri or wherever, they're doing it because they don't think destroying small businesses, destroying medium-sized businesses is worth the benefit that we're gaining, which the benefit that we're gaining is we can see, yes, it's serious things. People are dying. We need to take it seriously. But those people are going to probably die anyway, whether or not the flower shop down the street's open. That's not going to make a difference at this point. The models that everybody was terrified of early on in March, February, they've been pretty well debunked. They've been proven, not debunked. That's the wrong word. But models, whenever you're predicting things, they're going to change.
It's a moving target. Yeah, right.
It's not a perfect science, and
there's so many factors in that one thing could happen, much less 10 things that change the outcome of that model. Yep.
Right. So just appreciate that, understand it. It's not a political argument. It's just the reality of things.
Yeah.
The mark was here. We said, this is where we think things are going to end up. People are going to die. It's going to be 500,000 people are going to die. And then it's like, okay, well, that was off. We're a little off on that. But those numbers were floated, like by April 15th.
I think at one point they were talking millions, like 1 or 2 million people that would die if we don't take action. Yeah, it was like.
So right now, today, we're about 45,000 deaths in the United States, which is bad. It's fucking terrible.
Yeah.
We don't want 45,000 people. Nobody does. But what? It's a hell of a lot better than what we fucking expected. So the point is that you adjust to the current information that's available. And that is the problem, is we're not making that adjustment. Everybody's still going and taking action based on February 15th or March 15th or whatever data set that they want to fucking glom onto. That's the data that and that's wrong. You shouldn't be doing that. We should be looking, where are we today? And today, we've learned a lot of things. Now, if you're in New York, or even if you're in Chicago or certain cities in California, you probably need to go to those extremes. But if you're in Boise, you're open your fucking flower shop. If it had been closed, it probably never even closed. But if you're in Waterloo, Illinois, open your flower shop, open your brewery. Let's go. Let's get this shit done. And if people still don't want to come and they don't feel comfortable with it, then don't.
Yeah.
And if you don't, and if you're a small business owner and you don't feel comfortable doing it, then don't. But at least let it be your choice and not let the government mandate that we need to shut things down, because that's not America. That's not the way we're supposed to do things.
So I think we talked about it off the air. I don't think we were recording yet, but yeah. So we talked about this notion of like, if you just opened everything back up, that would be the extreme. But like, let's just say you did. Then it's up to you to decide, do you feel comfortable going to this restaurant or to this bar or to this whatever store? And if you don't, then stay the fuck home. And if you're comfortable with it, then go. And is that going to lead to some cases? You know, sure, there's going to be somebody that spreads it at the bar or whatever, but everyone that was there knew what risk they had. Now, I mean, I don't know. Is that okay? I don't know.
Another take on this. You could have got the flu this time last year.
Mm-hmm.
So 2019, April, people were carrying the influenza virus.
Yeah.
You could have gone to a restaurant, caught the flu from that person.
Mm-hmm.
You could be immune compromised. You could get pneumonia and die. The risks were present then too. Now, are they as prevalent? No, it's not the same. I get it.
Right.
There's still some unknowns with this. There's no vaccination. I get it.
Mm-hmm.
But you're taking risks. Every time you leave your house, you take risks. If depending on where you live, your risks are very different, right? If you live in Chicago in the wrong neighborhood,
mm-hmm.
You walk out the front door, you're taking a risk of getting shot. If you live in if you live in San Francisco and you want to walk down the street, you're taking a risk of stepping in human feces or kicking a homeless person. Real risks.
Yep.
So that's life.
Mm-hmm.
If you want the government to put you in fucking bubble wrap and make sure that everything's safe for you, you're in the wrong country.
Mm-hmm.
And you just need to hole up in your apartment or your house or whatever and order food in and never see the light of day again. I mean, that's fine. You have every right to fucking do that. But if you want the government to babysit you, North Korea probably take care of you.
I was just going to say, just go to North Korea where they don't have any cases.
Yeah. Well, of course they don't have any cases.
Right.
And they're going to make every decision for you. And they're like, no, you don't need that. We'll tell you what you need and when you need it,
Yeah.
You need this 3x5 box that you're going to sleep in every night, but you don't need any of their belongings,
Now, okay. So I for the most part, I agree with what you said. There is this viewpoint or this perspective of this is different than other things that you can or can't do because your actions can affect me. You can get me infected because you are contagious and you were irresponsible and did all this other shit. And even though I'm as careful as I can be and I went to whatever place that you went, now I got it from you because you're irresponsible.
But I just covered that.
I know. But the only alternative for people like that person who's worried about this is to just stay home, hold up. But maybe they could go out if you weren't being so irresponsible. If there was some guideline of like, okay, if we all just do this much, we'll be fine. But instead, these 5 assholes who did all kinds of stupid shit got all these other people infected who were mostly being careful. We went to Applebee's and we stayed 2 tables apart, but this guy walked by and touched my table or whatever. You know what I mean? Like,
so you're making the same argument that a lot of people that are anti-gun make. Like, well, you never know who's going to go out and shoot somebody. So we shouldn't have any guns because one guy's going to go out and shoot somebody. So we should lock everybody down because one asshole might be fucking sick and be irresponsible and go out and cough on a fucking dinner salad. You can't do that.
Well, I think it's where, okay, I'll use your gun analogy. It's more like, should we have no restrictions on guns or should we have some gun laws? Yes, we should have some gun laws where certain people aren't allowed to have a gun or, if you do this and this, we take your guns or whatever, right? Some people get pissed about that. Like, fuck that. There shouldn't be any gun control.
I think most reasonable people agree that there should not gun control, but there should be restrictions on guns for felons or for violent criminal history.
So it's
and things
kind of like that. Like, okay, most reasonable people think we should have some guidelines about what you can and can't do with infections.
What would you propose for this situation? Would you? I mean, are you going to say like, are you going to take everybody's temperature everywhere they go?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I honestly don't know. I just think like maybe there should be something, some kind of guidelines, whether it's, half capacity at restaurants and bars and spread them out, or it's.
But the restaurant owner is going to be like, fuck that. I'm going to let as many people as I want to because it's my business.
Or they say, if you do, then we shut you down, that kind of thing. Like it's one or the other.
And that would cause a revolt too. That would cause a protest, and that would go to the Supreme Court.
Right.
And
I'm not pushing that or promoting it. I'm just saying, like, I mean, the alternative is what we're doing now, where everyone's shut down, and with it, they're talking about in Illinois, mid-June will be the proposed or expected peak of infections in middle of June. And that doesn't mean after the middle of June we're all going to go back to work. That just means that's when they expect it to be the worst, and it'll start to tail off. So it could be August, September, October, who knows, before they open back up again. So in that amount of time, how many businesses are going to go out of business that if they haven't already? I mean, we've had stimulus checks and whatever, but that shit ain't going to last 6 months. So that's what I'm saying. If the alternative is you go out of business because we lock it all down, or you abide by our guidelines of, half capacity. Well, what are you going to pick? I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying that's what I promote. I'm just saying I could see that as some people promoting that.
There's a lot of options there.
Yeah.
So let's say you're the business owner. You own Casa Romero or whatever. You own Bobeck, not Bobeck, whatever it's called now, Washies. And they come to you and say, you must do this or we're going to shut you down.
Yeah.
Now, number one, I don't think the federal government would ever do that. That's not a federal government thing. That's a state or local thing, typically.
Okay. Yep.
If the federal government did that, I would be way fucking shocked. Even despite Republican or Democrat in office,
right.
It'd be very difficult to accomplish that at a federal level. So it's going to be state or local government that was to try something like that. So a couple things could happen. The restaurant owner can sue and wait for it to go to the Supreme Court and wait to win his case and then put as many fucking seats in his restaurant as he wants. Or he could say, all right, fuck you. I'm going over across the river to St. Louis where they're maybe a little more reasonable and they don't have these kinds of things. Yeah. And if they do too, then there's going to be lawsuits. There's going to be lawsuits right now. Everything stops today. There will be lawsuits of businesses suing the federal government, maybe not suing the federal government, maybe suing the state governments for destroying their business, for hindering their business. And I feel like there'll be, I don't know, there will be lawsuits. There will be other legal action taken after this. But I don't know who's going to be at fault on it. But
I mean, we already have regulations on, like, their health inspectors. They come in and make sure that everything's as clean as it has to be, right? Up to a certain standard. We require you to take this act to clean your dishes a certain way or whatever, right? So how is that any different than somebody's like, fuck you, I'll clean my dishes however I want, or I'll serve up, old burgers if I feel like it, that kind of thing.
Those are accepted, safe, normal measures. Like, oh, you want me to clean my dishes?
Right.
Because okay. Yeah. You want me to make sure that I don't put food away in my cooler hot covered,
right?
Because that'll create mold and salmonella within that. Okay, that makes sense. I understand the basic science.
But how is this any different? If you said, yeah, okay, that makes sense. We're trying to prevent the spread of coronavirus.
There's a lot of people that don't agree with the science behind this.
Right.
That there's yes, right now it's a little different right now because there's so many unknowns with this virus, but when we do have a handle on it, whether it's August or whether it's next August, whatever, some point we will, and at that point we need to be able to say, like, yeah, it really is at that point no different than the flu. We'll have a vaccination to some degree, we'll have measures that can be taken. And then you're taking the exact same risk that you were taking in 2018 going to a restaurant. So we shouldn't be changing the way that we run these businesses. We shouldn't be hindering those businesses, especially.
Well, I'm just saying, like, we already have things like capacity limits for fire code, right? You can't have more than this many people, right? And that's a safety thing. And we tell businesses, if you don't abide by this, we're shutting you down, that kind of thing. So how is this any different? I mean, it seems different. I fully admit that. But at the same time, it's like it's a safety hazard. It's like we're trying to prevent safety issues.
It's pretty easy to prove that, like, the capacity of stubborn German is 600 people, right? And when you get to 600 people, you're like, oh yeah, this place can't handle anymore. If there's a fire, we're all fucking dead, right? So those are pretty easy things to prove, right? Same thing goes with your health measures, right? Whether how you store food, and do you wipe down your tables with just water, or do you wipe them down with bleach water? Almost every restaurant is going to use bleach and water, and they're going to wipe, or some other disinfectant. Maybe it's a spray.
I'm with you, but I think depending on who you ask right now, if you said, they would say, we've already proved what the infection rate is or what the risk is of this. Like, there's no question about it. Now, obviously, people question it. But again, depending on who you ask, they would say, don't worry about trying to prove it. We've already proved it.
It's not proven science. That's the other thing. People continue to do this. Well, it's proven. It's proven. Mm-hmm. Science is in. It's like, the science is never in.
Right.
The science is never solid. Yeah. That's the idea behind science. We are constantly trying to poke holes in it. And that's what whether it's climate science or whether it's influenza. There's always, number one, things are constantly evolving and changing. Number two, just the nature of things is that the beauty of science is that there's unknowns, and there's always a new hypothesis that can be tested, and that you can say, like, well, what if we look at it this way? Mm-hmm. So, the numbers aren't in. Anybody that says that, like, well, the death rate is 0.2%, like, well, today, and for this little microcosm that we've actually tested, but we really don't fucking know, because as we talked about, it could be 10 times as many people that are actually infected. So if we're talking about the death rate of infected people, well, that goes down dramatically, right?
Yeah, I saw something the other day that said it could be 85 times more people have been infected than reported cases, which obviously would make the death rate a fraction of a percent. But
exactly. So those are the things. And so, that being the case, it's like, well, if we're looking at this through the perfection of hindsight, and we can say, that same person that's like, well, we know that people are going to get sick. It's like, yes, we do. We know that if people come in contact with someone else that has the virus, they will get the virus. Yes. Now, to what degree? Could they be asymptomatic? What percentage of people were asymptomatic? Could they maybe, not just asymptomatic, but not never know until for some reason they get a fucking blood test and it's like, hey, looks like 6 years ago you had the fucking coronavirus. How many people are those cases versus how many people are, fuck, you're dying, you better get your ass to the hospital, you need a respirator, this is serious, you're and then done, they're gone. So those percentages are dramatic differences already today. Those percentages are dramatic differences. That's why if you go to that Johns Hopkins site, the ArcGIS site, I'm on it right now. It says 2.5 million confirmed cases, 4 million tests in the U.S. Why is that showing? That's changed over there. And then 177,000 deaths. So confirmed cases. Nowhere does it say, on this side at least, how many of those cases were severe versus non-severe. How many of them? There is a hospitalization rate tab now that's on here, which is interesting. You can dig a little deeper. So, for example, in Illinois, the hospitalization rate is 14.45%. I presume that is of people that are confirmed. There's been 4,700 people hospitalized for a rate of 14.45. So, but again, that's confirmed cases, people that were tested. All fuzzy numbers. It's all, we can't fucking put, there's no,
and nobody. We know right now they're not testing everybody. They're not even coming close to people who call in with supposed symptoms are not necessarily being tested. And it's not because there aren't enough tests or this or that. I mean, that might be part of it. It's if they say, if you mostly feel fine, but you have some fatigue and, whatever, stay home, stay quarantined. And if you get worse, let us know. Like, that person didn't get tested. Did they have it? Probably. No, maybe not. But they're not going to be reported. They're not at part of these stats. And that's not driving the fucking number of death rate down either. where if you started reporting everybody who had, if you tested everyone that had symptoms or everyone that doesn't, those numbers are going to go way down.
Right. No, I agree. So that's the problem, is that everything is in flux, and anybody that tries to say like, well, we know. No, you don't.
Yeah.
No, you don't.
Right.
So stop it. Stop it. You don't know shit. Nobody knows shit. Even that Fauci. I mean, if we look at the evolution of things, it doesn't matter if you're on CNN or Fox News or MSNBC or wherever you want to go watch whoever's timeline. So the Fox News timeline is going to be like, Trump was right. Look, here's what he said. Look, he was right. And CNN's going to be like, Trump fucking screwed this up from the get-go. Look, he fucked this up. He fucked that. Yeah. What you will see, though, what the one consistent thing should be is that what Dr. Fauci said, who's the foremost expert, right, on infectious diseases, as they say. Mm-hmm. So what he said in January, I think he said something along those lines like, I really don't think we have anything to worry about. I don't think the U.S. is going to be impacted by this much at all. And then you see February, what does Fauci say? He's like, well, we do have a first confirmed case, but I really don't think it's that big of a deal yet. According to what we're hearing out of China, it's not that bad. He didn't know that China was lying to him.
Right.
And so you see the evolution of things until we get to late March, where he's like, we need everybody to fucking wear masks. Don't leave your fucking house. Yeah. Live in a bubble until we give you further notice, which is a dramatic fucking difference from what he said before. And all of them, every single fucking person, the people that knew the most, the president and his advisors, the pundits, who, whether or not they knew a lot or knew a little, who knows, but everybody universally in January said, not a big deal.
Right.
There were some people, my wife being one of them, who said, this is going to get fucking bad. Watch. And I don't know what she fucking read, but she was right.
Yeah.
I was wrong,
I think that's the thing that's like, everybody wants to blame Trump, right? For, he didn't take enough action and he didn't do enough when everybody else knew. It's like, first of all, he doesn't know anything about what's going on. He has people who tell him. He has advisors and specialists, and those people have experts who inform them. Like, there's a multi-layered channel that gets to the president. So you really think that there was a bunch of people behind the scenes telling him, no, sir, we need to take drastic action. And he was like, fuck that. It's fine. I got a hunch. No, they were all telling him, yeah, it's probably not going to be that bad. The numbers right now look fine. Yep. China's telling us, WHO is telling us this isn't spreading. And, I wouldn't worry about it, which is exactly what he told us. I just refuse to believe that he was going against what all the experts were saying on the pulpit. Like, it doesn't make any sense.
No,
he clearly was just telling what he had been told.
Yeah, he's done a lot of stupid shit. He said a lot of stupid shit, but I don't think he's doing much wrong on this as far as, he's not really, other people are politicizing it. Yeah. He's playing defense, and so he does play the political game in that regard. But, I think it's one of those where, he didn't start it. He started a lot of shit. He's poked a lot of fucking bears along the way, but this one, it ain't on him, But this is maybe a decent segue to your next, what you wanted to talk about, is that news stories that have been the past 24 hours. There was a campaign ad that Trump tweeted it, that his people put together, and it's showing the despair of certain people through this coronavirus. And then it contrasts that with Nancy Pelosi talking with James Corden and discussing her ice cream selection in her $24,000 Sub-Zero refrigerator. One of two $24,000 Sub-Zero refrigerators. Yeah. And it's a ridiculous commercial because it's so good. Yeah. And I don't, look, if you're a political person, whether or not you're Republican or Democrat, you've got to appreciate the fucking just the knife's edge that thing is on. It's like that thing is probably one of the best political ads in the past 20 years. I mean, it's so good. And I don't know if it'll get. It's got a lot of views online on Twitter and all that shit. But I think people are bashing Trump for like, well, why would he do that? He's politicizing. It's like no. She fucking started it. She went to Chinatown in the early days. She's like, we need to embrace the Chinese people. We get out, go to Chinatown. It's okay. It's safe. She was clearly fucking wrong. And she was just saying that because she wanted to be able to call Trump a xenophobe.
Right. Yep.
And she wanted to be able to say like, well, you can't do that to the Chinese people. We got to get out and support him. Well, that was wrong. It was bad advice. Just fucking admit it. Don't bullshit people.
Right.
Anyway, so but the point is that
Yeah.
story. I wonder how many people have heard that to this
I
point.
hadn't
I don't
heard
know.
that. But what we were talking about earlier was I was talking to some friends this week in a video chat, and I was just kind of, among many stupid things we were talking about, I was getting their opinion. So what do you guys think about this situation going on with the Michigan governor? And they were like, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm like, really? You haven't heard about these strict guidelines that are coming down where you can't go to the garden department or the paint department of the stores, and if this and that, you got to do this. And they were like, no, I haven't heard that. I'm like,
I got a question. Who these people are?
They're educated, responsible adults with families. It's like they're.
I'd question that.
I know. Well, and full disclosure, a friend of mine told me about that story first, so somebody had to share it with me. I was not looking for it, and I'm far from an informed citizen. Like, I don't follow the news constantly. I'm not always on there, but enough that I feel like I know what's going on, especially when it smells of something that I need to know about. But they didn't know about that, and they didn't know about these somewhat recent accusations of the Wuhan lab having maybe originated this virus and covering it up and what their motivations were and all this stuff, right? So they hadn't heard anything about that. And I just thought, how can you make any kind of informed decision about what's going on in your life right now with quarantine or shelter in place or whether we should or shouldn't, when should we open up? Like, if you don't know what the fuck is going on, how can you make a decision on that?
Yep.
And I don't know. It just really struck me as odd. And I know I'm not as informed as some people, and I'm more informed than others. And, nobody's on the same, not everybody's on the same page, but it just really seemed odd to me that these responsible, intelligent, educated adults were not even following what's going on.
I will say,
and then
I can't say that
stuff.
I can't say that they're not responsible. I can't say that they're not intelligent. I can't even say that they're not educated. But all of those things don't equal informed.
Right.
And I think, well, maybe responsible. You need to be informed to be responsible, I think. Willful ignorance is another element, I guess, that comes into it, that some people just don't care, and they don't want to care. And that, I guess that's fine. But then don't bitch, right? If you're gonna turn a blind eye to things, and you're gonna be like, well, I've never heard that, so fuck it, must not be important. Well, then shut the fuck up whenever someone wants to bring that up as evidence.
Kristen kind of falls into that camp. Willful ignorance. She doesn't like controversy, for one. She doesn't like confrontation and arguments,
I can tell.
Yeah. So she doesn't want to follow the news. She doesn't want to follow things that lead to controversy, right? She doesn't want to get into those conversations. So she ends up not knowing a lot of times when certain things are going on. And it's like, now I will also say she, for the most part, doesn't do the other side, which is complain about it later. I mean, she does, but she's not one of these that doesn't follow anything and just gets on her soapbox and bitches and moans. She's pretty good about that. What's that?
Does she vote?
No, she does not. But she also knows, like, I don't follow enough to even know who to vote for, so I'm not gonna.
But an argument
uneducated
could be made, and a lot of people, I think, would make this argument that you are a citizen,
right?
And it is your civic duty to vote and to determine who represents you in government. And an excuse of, well, I don't pay attention enough, is not a great excuse. You should make that effort to make an informed decision, as uncomfortable as it may be.
Mm-hmm.
You need to do that. So I would encourage. I mean, look, I'm not going to make her vote, but
I do think,
honestly, I probably don't want her to vote, because she probably wouldn't vote the same way that I would vote.
See, she's going to negate.
You know what?
Vote.
She needs to stay her ass at home. But
yeah, I do think I understand where she's coming from. There's been times where I didn't. There's a lot of times I don't vote, depending on what it's for, and definitely I think in the state of Illinois, when you're talking about the president, it doesn't matter, because this state is voting Democrat, no matter what. That.
Yeah, but I've voted in every election that I've been eligible to vote in since I've lived in.
Yeah.
I lived in Missouri for quite a while, and then I've lived in Illinois rather, since 2004, and I've voted in every presidential election. And I know that in Illinois, it doesn't really matter.
Right.
But also, I look very closely at the data, and I like to see that Monroe County is red. Mm-hmm. I enjoy seeing that. I'm like, well, at least the people around me, for the most part, agree with me. Yeah. Now, you get a little bit outside of Monroe County, you go up north in St. Clair, it's a blue county, and that's fine. But then you look at the rest of the counties in Illinois, they're all red.
Right.
So,
but I feel like there's other elections like local, circuit clerk and county this and court justice that and blah, blah, blah. That's like, I don't know anything about any of these people that are running for this position. How am I supposed to vote in any kind of informed way? Like, it just feels silly. And
you go do a little research.
I know, but that takes time. And then if you're going to follow all these different politicians who are running for every little position,
Netflix, you'd stop watching Disney Plus.
Priorities, Ryan. I don't give a fuck who the circuit clerk is.
Yeah, well, you should. Cause I think actually not she's a county clerk, Sauget, last name Sauget. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, right. Yeah. I don't know shit about her policies.
Right.
I don't know shit about where. I think I know what party she belongs to. Doesn't matter. I just don't like the bitch because she was rude to me. She worked at the DMV. She was a bitch, and fuck her. So when she was running and she won once, I think. And then she lost re-election.
Right.
And I voted against her both times.
Yep.
For no other reason that she was not nice to me at the DMV.
Yeah.
Small town politics. But
she might be lockstep with you on every policy, but
99% sure she's not. I think she's
But I've done that. I voted for a guy that I knew without really knowing that much about his policies. I knew him. He was the uncle of a good friend of mine. He seemed like a nice guy. He was running for, was it? I forget. Anyway, county commissioner or something, but, and I voted for him. And afterwards I felt kind of stupid for doing it. I was like, I don't know shit about what he really wants to do, what his policies are going to be. I didn't really know. I just was like, oh yeah, I'm going to help the guy out. Well, that was probably foolish of me, So I get it if you're not going to spend, and to me, it's more than just the afternoon before where you go and look up a few blurbs about that candidate. You need to really know what they're into and what, you need to know what you're doing. And I get it when people don't do that. It's like, okay, fine. Leave it to the people who do follow. And, but that's hard to do too, because people will just go and like, oh, Democrat. Yep. Check. Oh, Republican. Yep. Okay. Like, ugh. So,
but that, there's that, but I feel like as long as that person feels like they're informed, then go for it. Now, there's a lot of people that think they are and they're not, which that sounds like your friends, unfortunately, that they probably claim to be informed citizens, but and not that those stories are tantamount to being informed, right? They're not the end all be all, but they're pretty mainstream news stories.
At least part of the puzzle. Yeah, I know. These were like major stories. It wasn't like I had to go to some off the wall website to find. So that means that
they're just not watching the news. They're not going to a news site. They're not on their social media. It is all cat videos and cookie recipes or whatever the fuck they happen to be looking at. I mean, I don't know how you would avoid these things. A lot of what I had written down whenever you brought that topic up, I wrote down echo chamber. So I know that my feeds, Twitter and Instagram and Facebook and whatever, all the things that I shouldn't be on, I've created it. I've created this echo chamber.
Yeah.
The things that I see are things that I typically agree with. And those that I don't agree with, I blow right past them, or sometimes I'll even mute that person. Like, I don't want to hear anything from that fucker for 30 days. Yep. And beauty of these social media sites is that they allow you to do that shit. So, but that's not good. I should be reading those articles from that person. I should be reading all sides of it. And I think I do a good job of getting a balanced view on things. But if you don't, and if you've created this little echo chamber where the only thing you hear is from your friends who agree with you, and if they don't agree with you, then you've blocked them or unfriended them, then that's not good. And I would say that my question for you on these people your hunch, do you think they're Republican, Democrat, left leaning, right leaning, middle of the road, completely oblivious?
So I think I know, and it's a wide, like one of them is absolutely Republican, one of them's absolutely Democrat, one of them I'm not totally sure on. He's kind of middle of the road. So yeah, but
none of them knew about this.
One of them knew for sure. One of them was like, he had followed it kind of the way I did. He knew what was going on. But
Republican?
No, he was the middle of the road guy.
Okay.
Which, I mean, I would say, if I had to say, I would say I'm Republican right now. I used to say I was Democrat. But, I mean, I would say I'm middle of the road. So,
yeah.
I
just think
but maybe that's part of it. Is like, if you're a true hard-on Republican, you've already made up your mind about what's going on. You don't need to follow every little story. And if you're a Democrat. If you're a Democrat, you already know what you think at this point. You're not following every little story about how this unfolded or whatever.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think
maybe that's an oversimplification.
A bunch of times that, there's this spectrum of 70% of the, United States population is in that middle bubble and they're in the spectrum, right? And I still think that's true. But I do think that over the past 3 years, it's shifted. I think there are, middle left and middle right, but it's more middle right that there's more wiggle room there.
Mm-hmm.
There is a larger chunk on the left, it seems, that are just, they fucking hate Donald Trump no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
And anybody that even thinks about saying a positive thing about that man, they hate that motherfucker too. And they're just going to keep cutting people out of their life
mm-hmm.
until they've removed all possibility of someone siding with Donald Trump
mm-hmm.
or the Republicans. And I think there's a lot of them. I used to think it was about even on both sides.
Mm-hmm.
I've changed my view on that.
Yeah.
I think that there's far more of those dyed-in-the-wool Trump derangement syndrome people that are out there on the left, and that's it's a real fucking thing.
Mm-hmm.
And to be fair, there was Obama derangement people too on the right whenever he was in office. There's fucking wackos all over the goddamn
But you didn't hear about it nearly as much when Obama was in office.
No, I think people more so people just dealt with it.
Yeah.
I don't think that'll ever happen again. I think talk about new normal.
Yeah.
The new political normal is that it doesn't matter who's elected. When Trump gets reelected, because that motherfucker will, there's no way that Joe Biden can't even tie his shoes, I don't think.
I will be shocked if Joe Biden wins this next election.
Yeah, he's a shit show. It's a complete disaster. But so when Donald Trump wins again, he'll go through another 4 years of hell.
Mm-hmm.
And he will. And so then if it's, who knows, if it's Mike Pence or if it's Nikki Haley or whoever runs as the Republican after them, I don't know who they're going to run against. It'll probably be, who knows, it might be that Pete Buttigieg guy or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
Who knows who it'll be. Hopefully they find some new blood. That person, Republican or Democrat, will have to weather a storm similar to what Trump has weathered.
Mm-hmm.
And that is the new normal. That's unavoidable.
Mm-hmm.
And even though, the media has changed, right? So we talk about, fake news and all this stuff and how the media doesn't treat both sides fairly. Well, the media's dead. Now it's all new media.
Mm-hmm.
People are listening to podcasts. Hopefully this one. They're reading online news sources. They're watching YouTube videos.
Mm-hmm.
They're watching Instagram videos. They're looking at shit on Facebook. They're not looking at the New York Times or at CNN or at MSNBC or at Fox News as much as they were 3 years ago. And
Mm-hmm.
3 years from now, they'll be even less. And so more and more, especially through something like this, people are just bored goddamn skulls, and all they got is the internet in front
Mm-hmm.
of them, and they're tired of listening to CNN or they're tired of listening to Fox News, so they go out and they seek other sources, and now they're surfing the internet and they're finding shit that people are listening to podcasts probably more than anything now. Because they're just fucking tired. They're tired of all the other shit out there. So like, well, what else do I do?
Mm-hmm.
So another thing I wrote down real quick is that thinking about your friends is I wrote down the velocity of news, right? So they talk about the 24-hour news cycle,
Mm-hmm.
and so the velocity of news is that how quickly does something, hit and circumnavigate the globe or circumnavigate the U.S. and hit everybody, as broadly as possible. And I think that is like it's fucking instantaneous with Twitter and all the other resources out there. So it's amazing to me that not only did you find a person, but you found 3 people, one who maybe kind of heard of some of the shit, but 3 people in your circle that avoided this news cycle, basically that just dipped out of a day.
Yeah,
a couple days, really.
Right, I know, and it's like, again, I get it. There's plenty of times where I'm not really following the news, but I feel like in this time with what's going on, like you need to be knowing what's going on around us. If there's some story that comes out that turns out, because obviously a lot of people right now are bashing our president for his decisions on how this was handled. And if it comes out that this did originate in a lab in China, and not only did it originate there, they did it on purpose to show that they could beat everyone else in the world at detecting pandemic viruses. And if that's the case, which is what was reported, it doesn't take that much of a stretch to think, okay, how would they prove that they're better than everybody else at detecting this? Well, one, they would have to have it and detect it in China. But in order to be better than everyone else at detecting it, it would have to be in other parts of the world too, where they would then detect it late, quote unquote, later than China did. So that would imply that they sent it over here to our country on purpose. It didn't just happen to get here because somebody visited or whatever.
So
now, that hasn't been reported. That's me conjecturing, but
I'm going to stop you for a second. I want to point out, I don't typically spike the football and say I told you so, or rewind the tape and listen to what I said. But if you go back, I don't know, 2 or 3 episodes ago, and I said, hey, there's a podcast you need to listen to. It's with Adam Curry. And you probably haven't listened to it.
I think I did.
Okay. Well, in that episode that I told you to listen to, which is the title of the episode is called Rats True, R-A-T-S True. That it's a 3-hour podcast, so you may not have gotten to that point, but that specific point was made. And I think I talked about it. And it was at that point, I didn't buy into it either. I didn't think, I thought, conspiracy theory, come on, that's a little tough. And plus I heard someone on Rogan who was an infectious disease expert that said, like, no, they've done the DNA mapping of this virus, and they pretty well documented that they know when it jumped from animal to human. They know when it became a real thing. So it's not possible that it was manufactured in a lab, but who knows who that guy's getting his information from. And then you go and you research some of the stories that are being presented on Adam Curry's podcast, and you start to see like, oh, okay, well, these are legitimate fucking sources out here. And then now, 2 months later, you see it actually hitting quote unquote legitimate news sources, mainstream news sources, that this is a real possibility. Not really that far-fetched at this point that China was doing, and there's the whole Trojan horse. Remember talking about the Trojan horse thing? So that was it. But China, basically the U.S. is really good at booby trapping. We're not good at espionage. Chinese and the Russians are good at espionage, but we're really good at booby trapping. So we know that, and we plant a lot of traps for the Russians and Chinese. And one of these traps was that we had left some magic formula out there in the ether for the Chinese to come stumble upon and be like, "Oh, what do we got here? Oh, this is a formula for a fucking deadly fucking bioweapon." And they're like, "Oh, we're gonna make this." And they go and they fucking whip up a batch in their pancake mixer, and before they know it, they've infected their entire populace and they've killed millions of people. And that's the premise that Adam Curry was talking about. Now, I don't know if it's true or fucking not. It's interesting to think about, and I think that there's probably 30 to 40% chance that that's true.
Yeah, well, that's what's interesting is like, you're right. We talked about this. You talked about it. But when that was brought up a couple months ago, people were ridiculed for even considering that. Like, that's obviously an extremist conspiracy theory. It's just silly. Stop right now. You can't even have those thoughts because you're a fucking moron. I mean, that's basically how people treated that. And now, months later, it's like, oh yeah, that's probably true. Yeah, but we're pretty sure it came from the lab in China. Now, they're still denying it because of course they are. But like, and I don't know what evidence exactly has been found, but like mainstream media on both sides is reporting this now. They clearly, especially the opposition, clearly wouldn't be reporting that if there wasn't something to it.
Right.
So,
Well,
I don't know. I mean, it just makes sense. China fucking lies to us about everything. Like, why would we think they're being honest when they say this isn't what happened, or only this many people died, or whatever, right?
Well, that's the beauty of what will happen over the next 6 months, a year, 18 months, whatever it is, and I kind of can't wait for it. Number one, I can't wait for it because it'll be the end of this bullshit. Yeah. But number two, that the Monday morning quarterbacking, right?
Yeah.
So when the dust settles and we have real data, right, and we're able to kind of calm down, more people are able to take tests, these antigen tests, to see if you did actually have it, right? Because a month from now they'll be able to take a test and be like, oh yeah, you have the antigens. It looks like you did have it. That's real, right?
Yeah.
So we'll be able to do that on a broad scale, and we'll be able to have some real data and some real science, and not just media scaring the fuck out of everybody. And that's going to happen.
Yeah.
And it's going to be great, because whether it doesn't matter who's right or who's wrong or whatever. It's good to get. It's good to shut everybody up. Hopefully that happens. I mean, I guess there's a chance that it won't.
I think there's a good chance it won't. People will ignore the data and the information to just stick with their
the mainstream might ignore it. And I think that there's a lot of people that will be like, I never heard that, like your friends.
Yep.
But if you keep your eyes open and you keep reading and you open,
the information will be there, hopefully.
Yes. Yeah. And there will be people that will slice and dice this 6 ways to Sunday trying to find, and so you have to find the right people to trust.
Yeah.
And the scary thing is, I haven't listened to Rogan in a while. But the scary thing is that it's people like him who are clearly, I think he's pretty unbiased. It's people like this Adam Curry. It's Tim Pool. It's it's people like that are probably the people that will end up trusting, because they are going to give you the fair, balanced view that you can't find anywhere else. And they're going to say like, oh no, yeah, Trump fucked this up. He should have known. And I'll believe it.
Right.
It's
okay. Well, we need to wrap it up soon, but I don't think this is going to take too long, but I wanted to discuss how my wife tricked me into joining Facebook. So as you know, I think I
feel like you're awfully gullible if you got tricked into that.
Well, I'll explain how. So,
and I said it beforehand. I feel like that's like telling someone like, "Oh, I accidentally fucked her." It's like a few things got to happen before the dick goes in.
It's all going to make sense, right? So I fell over and my dick went in. So I don't know, how long has Facebook been around? 10 years, something like that. 15 years.
08, so 12. I don't know.
Oh shit. Okay, whatever. A long time, and I've never been on it. Never joined. Never. The extent of my use of Facebook would be if I Googled a business or something and they had a Facebook page, and I would go there to get their menu or their hours of operation, or if they had a picture or something. But usually it's pretty limited what you can get to if you're not on Facebook. So I've never been on Facebook. I've never wanted to be on there. I don't want to reconnect with old friends from high school or something, unless they want to download this podcast, and then I'm all for it.
Sure.
But anyway, so
2004 Facebook launched.
16 years.
But it really was. It was only at Harvard at that point. It was only college students, and it wasn't until about I guess 08, 07, 08 that it started to get opened up. Yep.
So we were trying to find a way to get our family to video chat for Easter, as I already discussed, and everybody has Facebook except me. Now, my wife, Kristen, said if we were going to use Facebook Messenger, and she said, I'm pretty sure you can get Facebook Messenger without Facebook. So you just have to download the Facebook Messenger app, and then we can all chat, and you don't have to be on Facebook. I said, okay, fine. What do I got to do? So she's kind of walking me through it, and it's giving me these steps, like put in an email address here, give it a password there, blah, 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 whatever. And I was like, this really seems like I'm adding an account or whatever.
Signing up for Facebook.
But she's like, no, I'm pretty sure you can just, if you do this, then you won't be on Facebook. You'll just be on Facebook Messenger. Boom. As soon as I hit submit, it was like, welcome to Facebook, and here's to set up your page. Who do you want to friend? And it was just like, fuck me, I just joined Facebook, and now it's out. Within minutes, I had people outside my circle asking me for friend requests or whatever, and I was just like,
sent you a friend request.
Damn it. Yeah, I'm denying it.
And it looks like you've totally bought in, though. You've got a profile picture.
Yeah, I mean, well, now that I'm in, God damn it, now I got to add Ryan. Confirm. So I've only had one.
You got a picture with your brother and sister. Look at this.
See, I've only had one person that I immediately regretted confirming their Facebook request. I won't say who it is, but instantly my feed was just flooded with stupid fucking shit that they just forwarded jokes and memes and this and that. It's just dumb. And I'm like, what the fuck, dude? So then as soon as I figured out how, somebody had to show me, I basically, I don't know what it's called. You don't unfollow them, but you...
Yeah, you just, well, you unfollow them. You don't unfriend them.
Exactly. I unfollowed. I didn't unfriend. And so it's like, fuck me. That's exactly what I didn't want. It's just nonsense being sent to me that I don't even give a shit about. And there's still a lot of that. My feed is full of just shit I don't care about. But I've been able to post some things that I thought were interesting to me, or a couple songs that I did. I've seen some stuff from other people, so it's like, okay, whatever. But I'm stingy with my confirms of friend requests. I do not anybody
spend a whole lot of time on there, but when I do, it is typically I don't really like people's things. I don't comment. I consume information.
Right.
And honestly, the majority of what I consume is not my friend's stuff. It's it's I don't even say it's celebrities. It's other news sources or I watch a lot of food videos, like how to make, and I watch a lot of woodworking and like crafts and stuff like that. Like how to, how to make stupid shit out of a fucking pallet.
Now, why is that showing up in your feed? Because you follow someone who's a woodworker, or?
I've searched for it, or I've curated my feed to do that. I mean, it takes time. I've been on Facebook for 10 years. But now I'm not a really crazy active user, but I'm active enough that I, and also their fucking algorithms are crazy smart
or crazy dumb. That's what I was just gonna say.
Well, maybe, but they're really, really effective. So like it knows. For example, here, let me give you a perfect example.
Yeah.
So this is threefold. So there's a guy, and you would like this guy. He's on. It's called. You Betcha is the name of the feed.
Okay.
You Betcha, and I guess he's from the upper Midwest, and but he's fucking funny, and he makes videos, and he's just a fucking fat guy like me, he's funny, and so for whatever reason, they showed me a video, said promoted video. Check this fucker out.
Yeah.
And I watched it. I'm like, that fucking guy's funny. So I followed him. Well, he posted a video a few days ago, or maybe it wasn't. Maybe it was longer than that. A few days ago, I saw it, and it's like, here's like the 3 steps of TikTok acceptance.
Right.
So Oliver sends me a TikTok video about once a day, and I for the longest time I didn't even have the app, and it would take me to a website, and it just didn't fucking work. One time it would like he sent me the link, but it took me to the wrong video, and it was a dick joke, and I'm like, dude, what are you sending me? It was fucking. And he's like, that's not what I sent you. Here's what I sent you. I'm like, well, okay. So then I got the app, and I'm like, oh, fuck, now the Chinese are watching me. So I got the app, and anyway, so I'm watching this guy's video on Facebook, and he's talking about the acceptance of TikTok. And he's like, in denial, which I was. I'm like, I don't need that shit. Fucking Chinese are going to watch. I don't know. I don't want that. And then it's like, fuck it. I'll take a look. And so I did. I get the app. I take a look. And then suddenly it's one night you're on your couch until 2 a.m. and you just can't fucking stop fucking blowing. And they're funny. Some are absolute garbage, but a lot of them are funny. So I was sitting next to the wife last night. She's sitting on the couch, sitting in the chair, and I stumble across this like fishing channel. This guy had landed a fucking fish in the ocean, like in the Gulf or whatever. I don't know where we're fucking fishing at, but it was weird ass looking. It was like called a hogfish. I've never seen anything like it. And I like watching fishing videos. I don't know why. A lot of people do. So I watch this fishing video. Well, I look at the rest of his feed, and he's got a hot ass wife. Maybe it's his girlfriend.
Right.
I don't know. But she rarely wears pants. And She's always wearing a bikini.
Yep.
My point. She's not naked.
Mm-hmm.
She's always wearing a bikini, and she's got most of her ass exposed for the world. And this dude is fucking Scorsese level cinematographer.
Okay.
He knows how to frame the subject, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So I get locked into this fucking dude's videos, and I must have watched fucking 100 of them. None of them are long. They're all like 10 seconds long. You're just like, well, look at that. She caught another fish. Look at that. There's her ass again. Oh, caught another fish. It's fucking great.
Right.
So I'm like, yep, but keep flipping through them or whatever. And I'm like, I got to follow this dude. I've only followed one other person on TikTok, and that's Chuck. Now I have followed fishing dude with the hot wife with her ass hanging out.
Yep.
Here's how great their algorithms are. Today, I go on to Facebook. I don't know how they know this shit. It's fucking terrifying. But there's like a section in there where it's like, here's things you might be interested in. There was 3 fishing broads, like 3 different people that were hot chicks that go fishing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, yeah, you're right. I am. Good for you.
I am into that.
Nailed it. Fine, guilty as charged.
That is my jam.
But God damn it! How the fuck do you know that,
right.
Facebook? Because we're talking about 2 different systems.
Yeah,
I was Facebook whenever that happened. It's like
they're all in bed together.
Well, yes, you have to assume they're all in bed together, and you have to. But how quickly it happened? Mm-hmm. It's like they're sharing data overnight. Like, hey guys, heads up!
Yeah,
fucking chubby guy in Illinois likes hot chicks who fish. Get on it.
Yeah. So what irritates me so far, and I've only been on there since Easter, I guess, but the other day I'm looking at my feed and it seems like there's nothing new. The top 2 things were like 5 days ago.
You don't follow enough people. I
guess not. But I'm like, I'm sure I know Kristen posted something and I'm not seeing it. What the fuck? So I'm scrolling down. I get way down and I'm like, there's the thing she just posted. That I knew that was in there. And then I'm looking, there's other new stuff. And I'm like, what the fuck? Why is this way down low? At the top is shit I've already seen. I've already seen it a bunch of times. I've clicked on it and read it or whatever. It's like, I'm not seeing new shit, huh?
Welcome to Facebook.
Right. That's what Kristen said. She goes, Facebook's dumb. She's like, their algorithms are not. I mean, it's not.
There's a way that you can so I have for Tammy and Chuck is about it, maybe TJ too. But I have them favorited. So if they post something, it'll be at the top of my feed.
Yeah.
And just because I the same things happen to me where I'm like, I don't want to have to fucking scroll through all this stuff.
Right.
But it also is smart, if you like, for example, you tend to look at, I don't know, what would you look at? Some podcast, a microphone fucking reviewers.
I mean, at this point,
right?
I only look at what people I'm friends with send.
But let's say you went on Facebook and you're like, oh, I heard this guy. I've seen his YouTube stuff. I want to see what he's got on Facebook. Okay. And you go and you search him out.
Yeah.
And you search for Joe Microphone and you, yep, I like this. And you watch a couple videos. Well, it's tracking every fucking step of that. Mm-hmm. And now it's going to suggest shit for you that you're probably going to. And you probably should like his page too. If, that's what they're expecting at least. And that begins the chain of events, right? Like I told you, I like vintage audio equipment, old stereos and old turntables and reel-to-reel tape decks and amplifiers and speakers. And I have some shit in my basement that I've been looking for someone to repair and refurbish. Yeah. If anybody out there knows of anybody in the St. Louis metropolitan area that refurbishes vintage audio equipment, shoot us a message at Load This Podcast on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, loadthispodcast@gmail.com. But anyway, so I went on, I think it was Instagram is where I started, and I may have been Facebook, and I just searched for maybe I searched for my amplifier, which is a Sony, it's like early 70s Sony amplifier. And I think that started it. And then I looked at a couple pages, and then before you know it, it's like, hey, look at this.
Yeah.
Look at this. And Instagram's owned by Facebook. So Instagram's like, dude, you're going to like this guy. And I do. And I follow fucking 15 people that all they post is vintage audio. And I love it. I love it. They know me better than I know myself.
I guess what I don't like, I wouldn't necessarily mind that, but I'm used to Twitter where, and you can change this on Twitter where it's, in order of what's that?
Yeah.
Chronological.
First. Yeah.
So everyone I follow on Twitter, I see what they posted, in the order they posted it. And I scroll through it and it's like, okay, yep. I just keep swiping down and it goes up through my feed until I get to the newest thing. That's exactly what I want. And it seems like Facebook doesn't do that. It doesn't. It's not chronological.
Yeah,
somehow they
allowed.
Yeah.
But not so much anymore.
Yeah. So anyway, that's been a pain in the ass. But I'm on Facebook and I don't know that I'll do anything with it, but we'll see. I have already posted a couple like videos of me singing and playing guitar. So if you want to see that, go check it out.
On Twitter, you only follow 16 people.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably part of your problem. You need to follow more people. Broaden your horizons, my friend.
I mean,
16 people does not an opinion make. You need.
I'm
going to see.
I only follow like 17 on Facebook or friends or whatever. So,
right. So you just need to. I mean, look.
Half of those were like, do I really want to?
Not that it's a pissing contest, but I follow 334 people on Twitter.
Okay.
And I've had to curate.
But don't you just already like my feed will be really long from the 16 people that I follow. How do you
see a lot of the same shit? I mean, you're only seeing 16 different views on something.
Well,
I follow 334 people, and it's everything from vintage audio to sports nostalgia to politics to my business stuff, like my work stuff, so fintech kind of stuff. And it's amazing how well, and it is about mass. The more information you give it, the better it will, the better job it'll do of presenting you with shit you care about.
Yeah.
So if you give it just a nugget, it's not going to do that great a job. But if you give it more information, like, hey, I like this, and I like this, but I kind of like this a little bit more than that, it knows. It knows what you're stopping to look at. It knows the videos that you're watching, and it's taking all that into account. It's like, oh, okay, we got this fucking guy figured out. And then someday you're going to come along and be like, hey, I saw my buddy, he followed this guy, or I just saw this fucking porn star, and I want to see what she's up to. Just be like, oh, well, hey, alert! Fucking Ryan's on some new shit. Time to show him some new stuff, and that's the beauty of it, I think. But it's also the scary part of it, So it's a matter of how much do you want to give up? How much do you care what people know about you? So I'm not some deviant fuck who likes watching goat fucking chickens or anything like that. So I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't, whatever. If they know about me, it doesn't really bother me.
I guess at this point, the frustrating thing was that I didn't think I was getting any new content because stuff I had already seen was at the top of my news feed. So I wasn't even bothering to scroll down, and I had to scroll down quite a bit to get something new. And I was just like, shouldn't the new shit be first?
Well, I think you need to follow more people than 16. So I also noticed that on Instagram, you changed your name.
I did. Yeah.
So the same from the BFibs that you just changed it, or?
Yeah. So my Instagram account was all centered around the BFibs podcast, the baseball Cardinals podcast. I followed mostly Cardinals focused content. I only ever really posted baseball stuff and Cardinal stuff, or that's what it was for. But I have since decided to kind of let that, I've mothballed the baseball podcast. For one, they're not playing any fucking baseball, but even before that, I kind of just decided it wasn't worth it to me. So I kind of got away from it, but I was still on Instagram. I would occasionally still post stuff. I would like things, like my wife would post some photos and I would like that, or people that I knew. So I kind of didn't want it identified just with a baseball account. So I was like, well, how do I change this? The name of the account is the name of the podcast. And apparently you can just fucking do that. You can change your identity on Instagram.
I had no idea that you could do that.
Yeah.
But I'm looking at what you follow here, and this is a much better, kind
well, I recently, just like a week ago, I unfollowed like 90% of the baseball stuff. Yeah, I still follow some, but I followed a lot more baseball stuff.
Well, you follow 61 different things, different people and places and feeds. My son, that's cool. He's a fun one to follow. And you follow this one, @Load This Podcast. Right. That's good. And of course, your wife and your family. So that's, but this is probably going to give you a hell of a lot better, Instagram, that is, being this, is going to give you a hell of a lot better experience and more content and material that you're inclined to like.
I guess I still feel like I don't get I don't see anything that I'm not following, right? Like, I don't get just like, hey, here's a chick in a bikini. Like,
No,
oh,
you'd have to
yeah, I
go.
should
Well, for chicks and bikini, that's a whole different thing. No,
fisherman
I
or
mean every
whatever.
once in a while you get some promoted stuff. I
Yeah,
tend to
there's definitely
in
like
Instagram.
ads.
You hit the search button. If you hit the search button
Yeah.
and don't actually search for anything, it'll give you some like
Okay.
suggestions.
Hmm.
And it's typically like I just hit it and there's a dude. Apparently they're quarantined and this fucking dude's playing roller hockey and just beating the shit out of his kids on skates. It's fucking funny. They're all
Nice.
wearing fucking full uniforms too,
Yeah.
like Maple Leafs uniforms. Pretty funny. Anyway, but yeah, I mean it's not a perfect science, obviously, but
Right.
it's pretty fucking good and also
Well,
scary.
I will tell you the one thing that has made me react the most. I cried laughing, tears running down my face. A buddy of mine posted a video that he found somewhere of, it was just a forward or whatever. It was people working out getting injured. And most of it was like rubber bands snapping. Most of it, so it was like a quarantine workout. It was people at home, right? So they're trying to like find ways to work out at home. So they're attaching these rubber band straps to their door or whatever, and the strap will snap and hit them in the face, or they're lifting weights over their head and the weights come off the bar and hit them in the face.
Yeah.
And I'm like crying, laughing, just like cracking up. I laugh at people's misery and pain. So that's always been a thing with me, but it was
I'm going
so
to
fucking
share
funny.
a profile with you
Send
right
them to
now.
me.
It's called America's Got No Talent. It's fucking great. It's people just hurting themselves. There's also another one. It's like I think it's just called Kids Getting Hurt. It's fucking great. And it's like little kids like falling off of shit,
Right.
and every fucking post is like "kids okay," and
Right.
yeah,
there's a line. You don't want to cross that line into like, oh wow, that person might have died.
Right,
I think part of it with the weightlifting was so much like they're filming themselves. They want to look perfect. They're trying to be like a badass here, and the fucking rubber band snaps and hits them in the face or whatever, right? And like that was the half of it was not only did they get hurt doing whatever, but it was like they're trying to put themselves out there as this like awesome weightlifter or exercise fanatic or whatever. It's like, I don't know. It was funny. So anyway, all right. Well,
fucking up is hilarious. There's a gal I used to work with. A quick story, Heather, her name. She was fucking great. It wouldn't surprise me if she's a listener. Honestly, she's a really cool chick. She was at my birthday party, which I know was a long time ago, my 40th. But she was the loud kind of Hoosiery, white trashy gal.
I drank too much, so I don't know.
She was a fucking hoot. But anyway, we used to work together. We used to sit next to each other, and every once in a while, she would just fucking fall out laughing, like wouldn't be able to control herself. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? You gotta watch this. And it was always, every single time she was in that state, it was always just someone falling down a hill or someone getting fucking hurt. Yeah. It's usually a fat person too. Right. If it was a fat person falling or not being able to, keep their feet on, I mean, it was over. She was fucking crying, laughing, and then it was infectious, right? Mm-hmm. So it's funny. I'll laugh at that too. But then her damn near pissing herself laughing makes it even better. And so I think that's a universal thing. But here's watch the America's Got No Talent one, because it's a lot of it is like, oof, it makes you tighten up a little bit. And you're like, oh, god damn, that had to fucking hurt. Right. So yeah, some of them are tough. But the kids getting hurt ones, that's pretty fucking good, because I mean, sometimes you feel for the kid, but but they're pretty fucking funny.
Nice. We're 2 hours in, so let's wrap this up.
Damn it, Jared.
Well, I appreciate everybody listening. I think you do too.
Yeah, maybe.
There's a lot of content out there, and in this shelter-in-place environment that we're all in, we realize you don't have to listen to us for 2 hours, but some of you do, and we appreciate it. And we try to keep it relevant. I know there's only... Huh?
One has to listen to
Well, they don't have to. That's what I'm saying. I'm glad that they do.
They continue to do so.
Yeah.
I'd be interested to hear from, I know we don't get a lot of feedback from our
vast
fans.
Audience. Mm-hmm.
Right. Call them fans, I
sure.
guess. I don't know.
Fanatics.
That I'd be interested, like, what should we do? Is a podcast enough? Because again, I'm talking about the guy that turned me on to TikTok. What the hell? What I say is what it was.
Oliver?
You betcha.
Oh
No, you betcha. You betcha.
yeah.
The feed. Anyway, but that guy, I don't think he has a podcast. He's got a Facebook feed or maybe a YouTube channel or whatever. He's got these videos and he posts them on Facebook. And I'm like, nah, I don't know that. I don't want to produce shit. I don't want to fucking act. I don't want to. I don't want to have to have a cameraman. I don't want all that shit.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of different things that you can do. Is podcasting the right thing to do? Is this the best use of our resources? Are we cut out for anything else? Is this all that we can fucking do?
Most people would say we're not cut out for podcasting, so
I would disagree with you.
Yeah. I mean, we've already canceled the video. We used to do video and post it on YouTube. Though I got to say, I like what we're doing. With this remote thing, I got Ryan's big ass mug filling up my screen.
The other side of that coin is like big ass mug
right,
filling up my screen.
So
little bitties.
I didn't like what we had, which was like this zoomed out video, because if we had 3 people on, the video had to be able to fit all 3 of you on camera at once. This is personal. I can see the facial reactions and
or this.
Right? That's what I'm saying.
I mean, can you put this like?
No, I don't know. I'm sure maybe we could figure out how to do this, but
maybe you spend some of your employer's hard-earned money and research that.
Well, we had talked about it before, where if we had multiple cameras, one pointed at you, one pointed at me, like at this table, one pointed at whoever.
That didn't work out though, right?
Well, it was a lot more technically challenging, harder on your computer, multiple feeds. You had to have a special video card, and the software we're using, it got infinitely more complicated to have more than one camera. So I was just like, fuck it. We don't have anybody watching us on YouTube anyway. But maybe that's why. We don't have good video content. So I like this up close and personal, but whatever. What are we, Joe Rogan?
I don't know. I wonder if there's a way to, maybe if we used a different tool, maybe we should look into that before we record next time.
We should look into that.
I'm power, and I will. We should look at other options other than, because we're currently using Skype, which is, it's old school, right?
Yep.
But I think it doesn't matter. Shit. Are you still there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Are you still there?
I think it doesn't matter.
Are our listeners still there? That's the question.
Your technology goes that what we use, like it'll still pick up the audio from whatever.
Right.
Whatever. So if we want to use Zoom, or if we want to use, maybe we should test that. Let's wrap this up and let's play around. What do you got going on? It's only 11:15, man. It's not even that late.
Right. It's only what is it, Tuesday? Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, it's fine. Piece of cake.
All right. Well, once again, thanks for listening and downloading and subscribing and tolerating and any other actions we can come up with.
Sure.
And well, until next time, I don't know when next time's going to be. We took a week off and didn't tell anybody. It just sort of happened.
We're going to hear about it any minute now. They're going to come knocking on our door, bitching that we left them hanging for a week.
I did have people email me or whatever. Hey, where's the podcast? I got shit to do. I need to listen to something. It's like, all right. Yeah. So anyway, all right. Well, again, thank you. And until next time, I'm Jarod.
I am Ryan.
And get a load of this.
Have you seen other people? I know you guys were, kind of quarantined, but have you seen like Bill or your sister or
anybody? I've not seen my sister. We did a video chat thing or whatever. We did have our 2-week quarantine where we weren't seeing anybody, but that is since up, and I have seen Bill and Tyson. I actually bought my new lawnmower from Bill. So I took delivery from him and all that. So
you used it or you bought it like new?
So used. He bought it new a year ago. So he already won. What's that?
Fine.
Oh, it's a Husqvarna, but it's the. I don't know how there's garden tractors and lawnmowers and lawn tractors and whatever. This is the upgrade. Like, I think it's Husqvarna's. I won't say it's their top of the line, but it's definitely like the upgraded engine, the upgraded transmission, the upgraded tires, the deck, everything about it is like 2 or 3 levels upgraded from a basic one. And for some weird reason, he wanted to sell it. He wanted to get a zero turn. That's what it was. So he bought this just like a year ago, kind of wanted a zero turn at the time, regretted it ever since. And then he was like, I was telling him that I was in the market to buy one. And he's like, I'll sell you mine. And I was like, well, yours is a lot more expensive. And he's like, no, I'll sell. And he gave me a sweet deal on it. So
right on.
I'm stoked. Anyway, but yeah, other than that,
the other way, I just keep filling my yard up with shit, so I don't have to mow as much.
Right.
So I just keep taking land away.
Did you get all that done?
Yeah, well, I didn't really take any more grass away, but we did spread. How many? I think it was 16 tons of rock. It was $1,200 worth of rock, and the boys fucking crushed it. I mean, I didn't do much work. We killed a wheelbarrow. It's actually laying in the backyard on the sidewalk. It's in pieces. Okay. Yeah, the wheel literally fucking fell off, and it was like it just gave up. So I had to borrow a wheelbarrow from Mike, and but we got it done. And
nice.
It looks great.
Looks good.
And it makes me feel that's one project makes me feel really good. But yeah, I just. Having TJ home rather is great. I haven't had to really mow too much. Haven't do and he doesn't have a car anymore because I sold his car.
Oh
so
yeah,
that fucker can't go anywhere.
Right.
I got him captive.
Is he bitter about that?
Nah, not about. I mean, he knows why.
Well, right now there's nowhere to go anyway. So
that even if there was, it's like he knows I wasn't going to pay for 2 fucking cars. One of them to sit in front of the house. Mm-hmm. Forever, and there's no need for him to take one to New Orleans. Insurance goes through the fucking roof as soon as you leave however big a circle it is around.
I don't remember what's Chuck driving.
He's got a Chevy Malibu.
Oh, I don't think I knew that.
It's nice. I think it's a 2014.
Dang,
14 or 15.
Pretty good.
Yeah, it's got high miles, but it's
still.
Yeah, it's fucking pimped, man. Mm-hmm. It's got it's got a cool like touchscreen stereo, like the modern, modern-ish stereo, and yeah, it's cool. It's a real nice car. And he hasn't, and I didn't have a problem buying him a nicer car because I know he likes cars, and I know he'll take care of it. Whereas like I knew TJ didn't give a rat's ass, and he was just gonna fucking destroy it, and he did. So that's why you got a piece of shit Honda. Yep. So that's the lessons you learn from buying kids' cars.
All right.
Anyway, I interrupted you. You Husqvarna. You
okay.
quarantined. You saw Bill. You saw.
That's what I'm saying. We haven't done a whole lot. Yeah, even when I saw them, we were pretty careful to not just be swapping spit or whatever. I mean, we were. I hope not. That'd be kind of weird. But yeah. So I mean, other than that, I haven't seen very many people at all. My sister. I should get into this. So let's just start. We'll talk about it. Let's start the episode. I'll get into that. All right.